Assalamu alaikum, my dear students of SAGC. I am Farzana Nasrin, your English teacher. Today I am going to take a class on a very important topic from your composition part. And our today's topic is graph analysis. Today's lesson is for the students of class 9 and 10. So let us see what we are going to learn from this lesson. In this section, we shall learn how to write notes to plan for graph analysis, describe chains using different sentence constructions. This includes the language for describing trends, increase and decrease, incorporating data, using approximation, writing appropriate word and varied sentence subject, writing about the varied time period. So at first, let us see what is graph analysis. An information transfer task which requires to write a fairly precise account of some information presented in a form or figure such as a graph, table, chart, or some forms of a pictorial representation of data. So that means we have to transfer information and give it a written shape. So let us see how a graph should be developed. It should be developed with an introduction, description, and conclusion. So we have three sections to develop. First, introduction, then we are going to describe the chart or graph, and at the end we have to draw a conclusion. So let us see what we are going to include in our introduction part. Starting with an introductory sentence stating what the given graph or chart presents and stating the trend of the graph or chart. So here we are going to mention what the graph or chart is going to present and its trend also. It's important. Then giving an overall impression at a glance which is to be described or elaborated or confirmed in later sections of writing. So whatever impression we get at a glance looking at the graph or chart, we are going to state that means if it has increasing trend, then we are going to mention that, or if there is a trend that indicate decreasing tendency, then we are going to mention that in this section, introductory part. Next comes description. In this section of writing, illustration of information needs to be given, highlighting the data presented in the graph or chart to show how they increased or decreased. And we are going to do that. We are going to talk about the data or information presented, how they are given, how they increased or decreased. We are going to deal with that in detail in description section. And if it is a matter to compare, then comparing, contrasting the information presented in the graph or chart will take place in this section. Conclusion. So we are going to close our writing with a fair conclusion. And a fair conclusion is to draw in order to confirm the idea stated in introductory section. You should remember one thing, dear students, that you should avoid providing personal opinion in this regard. So we are going to draw a conclusion, and the conclusion will be the reflection of the statement or idea that we stated in our introductory part. And we are not going to write too much detail of our personal opinion in this section. The common idea that we get, or common reasons behind the trend or behind the condition of the topic, we are going to state that. So as I have told you, avoid providing personal opinion in this regard. are some suggestions to complete the task. Let us see. Spend not more than 20 minutes to complete the task. So if you spend more than 20 minutes, it will hamper your time management. So it's better to spend not more than 20 minutes, and then spend at least 3 to 5 minutes planning your answer. So you will take 3 to 5 minutes before you start writing, because you have to plan, and for that don't spend more than 3 to 5 minutes. Read the instruction carefully. That means what the graph presents, and what is the subject matter, and what type of thing you are going to deal with. You have to be careful regarding that part. Analyze the illustration. This is the description part. I have already talked about that. Organize the information. You are going to organize your writing information, jotting down the information, then thinking over them to organize. After that, you will draw a conclusion. And don't forget to draw a conclusion. The most important thing is that check over what you have written. So within 20 minutes, before 20 minutes, you will spend 3 to 5 minutes to plan your answer, then read the instruction carefully, then organize information, analyze the illustration. After that, after writing, you should draw a conclusion, and last of all, you are going to check over what you have written to avoid mistakes, to check back whether the data given in the chart or graph matches with you, etc. When planning your essay, it is important to know exactly what is required to complete the task. Determine the time period so that correct tense is used. It's very important. Time. Period of time, you have to consider it, because we have to write using correct tense. And develop a general statement that gives an overall impression of the graph. I have already told you it should be given at first in introductory section, a general statement that gives an overall impression of the graph, and decide which significant details will be discussed to reflect the task requirement. Draw a relevant conclusion or summarize what you have written. Now let us see different types of tasks to be deal with. It can be bar graph, it can be line graph, or pie chart, or information table, diagrams, or even pictures. Now let us see how bar graph looks like. This is a bar graph. So you will, when you find this sort of graph, you are going to deal with it as bar graph. Then comes line graphs. See in figure 1 line graph, and also another figure, another line graph. And if you look at the lines, they how they are presented. Ups, and there are ups and downs, and some lines they go straight and then fall down, then again goes up. So this is how line graphs are presented. Now let us see pie charts. They are given like this, and in different colors, different percentage. It's divided into different percentages that will all together make 100% the whole. So we are going to deal with a pie chart later in our today's lesson. No, this is an information table. Information table is full of information. Here, an example I have given. Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, India, China, and the information regarding this country are given like land area, population density, birth rate, etc. And after going through this table, watching this table carefully, and going through the data given in the table, we have to describe it later. So these are examples of diagram. They can be of different shapes, and the diagram, the topic is given in one oval shape or a rectangular. Then there are branches, and we have to describe following the branches. Describe the topic following each and every branches. So this is examples of diagrams. And let us see example of pictures. So as I have told you that graph analysis means different types of task you may be given, and picture can also be given. There can be a picture to describe or there can be two pictures to compare or contrast. So pictures can also be included in graph analysis. Now let us learn writing introductory sentences. To write an introductory sentence, use your own word. Avoid copying the title of the question word by word. So it's very important. We should not always copy from the questions. We have to use our own words to write an introductory sentence. I have given a chart for you for your help. If you want, you can take screenshot or you can watch the class again so that you can get the idea. So there is a table. You will see type of chart, appropriate verb description. So you can start your introductory sentence like the graph shows the proportion of the information of or the graph presents data of, or it can be the illustration presents the number of the proportion of the information of the data of. The table shows or the table presents the information of or data of, etc. So if you want to use various type of introduction, it will help you. Do not go only for one type of sentences to introduce your writing always. It should vary time to time, and it will make your writing a creative one. Now let us see language study of graph analysis. Let's look at some graphs and charts. So let us deal with a bar graph. It presents, first let us check, it presents crime statistics of Vasantik Police Station, DMP. So the different topics it's going to deal with murder, dacoity, theft, women and children, depression. So first I have to realize the graph. So and time period it's given 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018. So 4 years statistics. And murder, the red bar suggests murder, dacoity in purple color, theft orange, and women and children depression yellow color. So there is not only one topic. We are going to deal with multiple topic, that is murder, dacoity, theft, and women and children repression. So I'm going to give you an example with one topic. So in course of your writing, you have to deal with each and every topic in the same way. So first of all, let us see what we have to jot down, what we have to take as information to be prepared for our writing. Let us determine tense, trend, and period of time of the given graph. Time is 2015 to 2018. It suggests past tense, so we are going to write the graph in past tense. Number of murder. In 2015, 14 murder took place. In 2016, decreased to 12. And 2017, further decreased to 10. In 2018, increased dramatically and reached to 17. So these are the information I have jotted down. And period of time from 2015 to 2016, when I shift to 2016 and compare the data of 2015 and 16, how I can write the period of time, let us see, after 1 year or in next year, after 1 year or in next year. So I have given you two examples of presenting the same thing. So this is how you will bring variation in your writing. And now on, what you have to do, you have to introduce what the graph presents in your introduction part, and what is the tendency of the graph, and what idea you get, like which crime takes place mostly. You can mention in this section, and then you will describe your graph in second section. That is, you are going to deal with the number of murder, then again number of dacoity, number of theft, or number of women and children depression in different years, and you are going to compare compare the rise and fall of one topic from 1 year to another. So this is how you are going to deal with the description part, and at the end you are going to draw a fair conclusion. So this is how you are going to complete your task. Now let us see an example of line graph. Look at the graph in the following figure. So first, what is our task? Looking at the graph very carefully. And what the figure suggests, sales of computer. So we should know that the topic is computer, but subject is sales of computer. And if you watch the lines very carefully, you will see how they went up and went up again and went down. So we are going to also see the time period, that is in 1995, and the months are January, February, March and April. So let us jot down our information. Let's determine tense and trend. 1995, that means past tense. So in the same way, we are going to analyze the graph in past tense. Time period January, February increased slightly. February to March increased dramatically. March, April decreased moderately. These are the ideas we gathered after looking at the figure carefully. Now we can write these notes in complete sentences, like from January to February, sales increased slightly. From February to March, sales increased dramatically. From March to April, sales decreased moderately. So what we did, we jotted down information, and then we put them in a complete sentence. Let us see how verbs are to be used to describe a graph or chart. So look at the lines, and you will see what type of verbs we can use. For the first line, we can use rise, increase, grow. When the lines go up, then we are going to use such verbs. When the line goes down, we are going to use fall, decrease or decline. And fluctuative, you will see how they look like the lines. And when the line goes straight up and then reach to a point, then we can say reach the peak. And if the line remain unchanged, there is no ups and down, then we can say remained unchanged. Adverbs to describe trends. Look at the trends of the lines, and we are going to use rapidly, dramatically, sharply adverbs. And then again, if the line suggests moderate rise, then we are going to use moderately, steadily, gradually. And if the rise is slight or not that much notable, then we can use slightly, slowly, etc. So we are going to learn to use adverbs in describing graphs or charts. Next comes description. In this section of writing, illustration of information needs to be given, highlighting the data presented in the graph or chart to show how they increased or decreased. And we are going to do that. We are going to talk about the data or information presented, how they are given, how they increased or decreased. We are going to deal with that in detail in description section. And if it is a matter to compare, then comparing, contrasting the information presented in the graph or chart will take place in this section. What really happened? These sentences mean the same, but grammar has changed. The actions that were expressed with a verb are now expressed with a noun. Therefore, adjectives are used instead of adverbs to express the amount of change. Being able to use both forms gives you variety in your sentences. So you are going to bring variety in your sentences, and we are going to do that after this lesson, inshallah. Look at the following table. So you can have screenshot of this table to create a different type of sentence construction we are going to learn here. Like you can say, there is a slight increase in sale, there is a slow growth in sale, there is a moderate rise in sales, there has been gradual rise in sales, there will be. So when it is a prediction, you can use future tense will be. And if the tense suggests that it is in past, you are going to use was. And if it is in present, you are going to use is or has been. An article, a, slight, adjective, noun, increase, growth, rise, sales, and in what? The subject in sales. So you can create your own sentences. You can write different types of sentences using this table, and it will help you a lot. When the graph does not show precise data, use words to express approximately, like just under, well under, just over, well over, roughly, nearly, approximately, around, about, etc. So sometimes we are not given exact data or information, then we are going to pick adverbs from this table and use them frequently. Now let's talk about sentence subject. It's very important. When describing changes, it is important to be clear about what is changing. For example, the topic is cars, and changes take place in their numbers. We cannot say cars increased. We cannot say cars increased, but the number of cars increased. Or to avoid repetition, we can say car numbers increased. So, number of cars or cars number. Then comes line graphs. See in figure 1 line graph, and also another line graph. And if you look at the lines, they how they are presented. Ups, and there are ups and downs, and some lines they go straight and then fall down, then again goes up. So this is how line graphs are presented. Now, let us look at this sentence. From January to February, there was a slight increase in sales. We could also say the same thing this way. Time period, changing the time period from January to February. So for this time period, we can also state like this: for 1 month, or for a period of 1 month, or over the next month, or during the next month. So we have learned how we can use verb or noun to bring variation in our sentence construction. Now we have learned that time period can also be stated in different ways. Now look at the pie chart. Now let us look a pie chart. So what the pie chart represents: buyer's choice of color of cars. And there are different color mentioned: blue, red, white, and other. White color 56.11%. It covers the most, more than half of the pie. And red is 28.05%, 12.72% is blue, and other color 3.12%. So at a glance, what idea we can get that white is the most preferable color for the buyers. When describing a pie chart, language of comparison is to be used. Describing just one part of the chart, we can use such table. The most popular car color is, you're right, it's white, not red. The second most common color is red. So when we have to comparing two parts of the pie chart, we can seek help from such table. That red is considerably more common than obviously blue, and or we can say red is significantly less common than white, or we can make different type of sentences from the table. So what we can you can do, you can take a screenshot of these tables so that you can recall them afterwards, and they will obviously help you to learn better. Comparison between white and red can be done like this. White is about twice as common as red, or white is 3 times as popular as red. So I have used two adjectives here: common and popular. So after looking at the pie chart, we realize that white covers most of the part of the pie chart. So it's a common sense that it is the common color, or it can be also popular color. So I have to think in different ways to describe the chart. And here is a note for you, dear students. We cannot say the least popular color is other. Others is not a color actually. It means all the other colors not mentioned here. So we can't compare other as a color. We can mention that they are from other colors. So let us see, while comparing, we can use adverbs and phrases as required. You can use unfortunately, fortunately, similarly, dissimilarly, in the same way, on the other hand, on the contrary, whereas, but, furthermore. So you can use from the list of adverbs or phrases, because sometimes we have to state the trend. When there something fortunate happens, the trend is actually positive. for example, illiteracy rate, when it decreases, it's a positive thing. Then we can use fortunately. And if illiteracy rate rises up, then it's unfortunate. So we are going to use unfortunately. And when we compare contrast, we can use on the other hand, on the contrary. When we state similarity, then we can use in the same way, similarly. When there is dissimilarity, we will use dissimilarly, etc. So to give additional information, we can use furthermore. When comparing, we can use whereas, but, etc. Now look at the pie chart. Now let us see at the end of this lesson what we have learned. Different languages to describe a graph or chart. Description of a graph or chart has three sections. We have learned that it has three sections: introduction with the trend of the graph and an overall impression at a glance. Secondly, elaborating the information presented in the graph. And thirdly, a fine conclusion with the confirmation of the trend. So, my dear students, I hope you enjoyed the class, and I tried my best to let you know different types of sentences that are to be used in graph analysis. And I know you may have questions in your mind. You can put your question in comment section so that I can give you feedback. Now let us see different types of tasks to be deal with. It can be bar graph, it can be line